Okay, so I kind of pride myself in being the kind of person that is rarely surprised. It's the cynic in me, it's the skeptic in me. I'm hardly ever surprised by anything, but boy, was I surprised today. Let's talk about it. This video contains mature themes and discussions intended only for adult audiences. Viewer discretion is advised. Hello there, my friend, and welcome back to another true crime conversation with me, Gavin Fish. Thank you very much for joining me wherever you're joining me from. And if you would, just because I love it so much, would you tell me where you are joining me from in the comments? I like to read that stuff. Okay, guys, what are we talking about tonight? We are talking about the case of the murders of Rob Reiner, Hollywood legend, Hollywood icon, Rob Reiner, and his wife, producer, photographer, activist Michele Singer Reiner, who were murdered with the sharp, pointy end of a knife multiple times. We think, we don't know if it was slashing or stabbing, but they were killed with sharp force injuries on December 14th, 2025. Their son, Nick Reiner, 32, this is him younger, is charged in the murders of his parents. And today was take two of the arraignment of Nick Reiner. Now, what happens in an arraignment? It's actually really easy. The charges are read against them. Sometimes they give the opportunity for him to hear what police, put what the indictment said or what the probable cause affidavit said. Usually they waive that kind of stuff. But he tried it once, no go. He tried it twice, and I thought today was going to be good. No go. And why? Why? Well, because his celebrity attorney, Alan Jackson, attorney to the stars, attorney to the rich and famous, sometimes infamous, withdrew as counsel for the young Mr. Reiner. And what I have for you tonight, I have a couple things. We can read the New York Times report, which I think we're going to do. We can watch Reuters edit of the hearing. There's cuts here and there, but it's about a 6.5 minute video, which I think we will also do. But why don't we start by just checking in where you guys are checking in from? What do we got? We got South Lake Tahoe here. We got Massachusetts, Cape Cod, the Bay Area of California, Jacksonville, Florida, Valparaiso, whatever, Indiana. We got Canada in the house, Grand Rapids, Michigan, Ontario, Canada. We got Battle Creek, Michigan, Round Lake, Illinois, Oregon, South Wales. Hey, we've got, well, I mean, Canada's international too, but they are our friendly neighbors to the north. We got somebody from the UK. Glad you are here, Steph Hall. Erie, PA's in the house. Southeast PA's in the house. New Hampshire, Alabama, Florida. Oh my goodness. And such a great question. Were the 10 subpoenas from the Conan party guests? Oh, we're going to get into it. Great question. There were a couple of lawyers in there that were representing whomever it was that were subpoenaed. Let's move over. What's the first thing we should do, guys? I think we're gonna read from the New York Times. Okay, this one's not a very long article. Let's just come over here. Okay. Nick Reiner's lawyer, Alan Jackson, removes himself from murder case, written by Tim Arango and Matt Stevens. The high-profile criminal defense lawyer representing Nick Reiner removed himself from the case on Wednesday. And I want you guys, listen, I'm just going to plant the seed now, okay? Alan Jackson said it was beyond his control and it was beyond Nick's control. Why do you think? I've got my own thoughts, but why do you think Alan Jackson withdrew. I've got a very cynical take. Okay, the significant departure was announced during a hearing in Los Angeles Superior Court where Mr. Reiner, wearing a brown jumpsuit, was set to be arraigned on 2 counts of first-degree murder. It may suggest that the Reiner family, Nick has 2 siblings, has distanced itself from Mr. Reiner and his legal case, at least financially. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, they gave away what I was thinking. I think Mr. Jackson was like, how am I getting paid? Oh, you have no money. Well, that's beyond your control. And it's beyond my control. I better withdraw. That's what I think. I'd love to hear what you guys think. Because, and I've told you guys this before, anytime I have engaged a lawyer, which has happened a grand total of like twice. No, 3 times. The first thing they ask is, how are you paying me? It's so freaking gauche, but they do it anyway. And yeah, okay. Mr. Reiner did not enter a plea on Wednesday, but spoke once in court saying he agreed to delay his arraignment. He had been represented by Alan Jackson, a well-known lawyer whose clients have included Harvey Weinstein and Kevin Spacey. Also Karen Reed, of course. Judge Teresa McGonigal assigned the case to Kimberly Green, a lawyer in the Los Angeles County Public Defender's Office, and rescheduled his arraignment for February 23rd, which will be easy for me to remember. It is the birthday of my older brother and the day before the birthday of my friend of 35 years, something like that. Okay, after conferring with the judge in her chambers, Mr. Jackson said in the courtroom that, quote, we feel we have no choice. Okay, no, you could do it pro bono, man. But okay. We feel we have no choice but to withdraw from the case. In a news conference after the hearing, which we will watch, it was brief, Mr. Jackson said he had been forced to do so because of circumstances beyond his control. Mr. Reiner is not guilty of murder, he said. Print that. Nathan J. Hochman, a Los Angeles County District Attorney, or the Los Angeles County District Attorney, said in a brief news conference that he was confident a jury would ultimately convict Mr. Reiner for the brutal murder of his parents. I didn't get that. I didn't get that clip, but okay. Mr. Hochman. And then it tells the whole story. Immediately after Mr. Reiner's arrest, lawyers for the Reiner family arranged for Mr. Jackson to take his case, said a person with knowledge of the situation who spoke to the New York Times on condition of anonymity to discuss sensitive information. The person emphasized that the change in Mr. Reiner's representation had nothing to do with Mr. Jackson's performance and said that he had been a professional throughout the process. I'm sure he had. In a statement to the Times, a spokesman for the Reiner family said they have the utmost trust in the legal process and will not comment further on matters related to the legal proceedings. And again, on this channel, we are striving our hardest to temper our speculation, to temper our commentary, our discussion with humanity and with compassion, which I hope that we're successful doing. And this is the best live chat on YouTube, 100%. It's thanks to you guys and it's thanks to our moderators. We keep it classy here. So please temper your comments with compassion and with humanity, okay? The Public Defender's Office found out on yesterday, that it would be taking over Mr. Reiner's case. Ms. Green told reporters on Wednesday that she had spoken briefly. Oh, dude, I just thought about yawning. And there it came. I got to stop. Kimberly had me doing breathing exercises. Get lots of oxygen. She's probably laughing right now as she's watching this, but yeah, God, don't yawn because I'm not tired. Anyway, I think it's these lights. Anyway, Ms. Green said that she had spoken briefly with Mr. Reiner, but not his family. Lori Levinson, a professor at Loyola Law School and a former federal prosecutor, said that Ms. Green had been one of her students and that she had closely followed her career. One of the best, Professor Levinson said of Ms. Green. She's got a lot of experience. She's smart. She's ethical. She knows the Los Angeles justice system. People tend to sort of say, oh, it's a public defender. She's really great lawyer. She's a really great lawyer and chose to be a public defender because that's where her passion was. So do I think, I mean, I've seen some pretty great lawyering from public defenders. I honestly have. And, you know, a lot of people have different incentives in their lives. For a lot of us, money is a huge motivator in how we do our thing. For other people, it's, yeah, the money, it would be great, but it's really about an ideal or a mission or whatever. So, yeah, she's probably a terrific lawyer. Especially if we read what her professor said. Professor Levinson, dude. Okay. Breathing exercises. Gotta stop that. Professor Levinson said the change in Mr. Reiner's legal representation had not completely surprised her. Oh, well, it surprised me. Many factors could have prompted it, she said, including an uncooperative client. They had to lawyer up very quickly, even before I think everyone knew all the aspects of the case, she said. To the extent that the family funds are being used for the lawyer, obviously, the family can't control what the lawyer does, so that can get a little unsettling. Of course, state charges, blah, 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 drug use, bouts of homelessness, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, these cases involving family members are some of the most challenging and most heart-wrenching cases that our office faces, said District Attorney Hochman when he had that press conference. So before we get to the video clips, let's check in to see what you guys are saying. I'm not those 10 subpoenas. I am curious about those. Let's start with Ohio Palm Mom, who gets us started with a super chat. Thank you very much. Let's see. Click on it. There we go. I bet the state disallowed using parental funds. See, I wonder about that because that is only disallowed after a guilty verdict, as I understand it. That's just how I understand it. But who knows how complex or simple the estate was. You know, these are very wealthy people in the hundreds of millions of dollars of net worth. I imagine they have a pretty darn complex and, estate plan with all of the T's crossed and the lowercase J's dotted. I don't know. Possible. Let's see. Fredonia's in the house. We got Kentucky, Austin, Pittsburgh, Indiana, Newfoundland, Demi, New Mexico, Northern Nevada, San Jose, New Bedford, Mass. You guys are from everywhere. Thanks so much. Cape Town, you get off to bed. Anne Hathaway, you get off to bed, and we will be happy to have you join the rewatch crew later. Grace Mayato says, I think it was a money issue. A lot of people are saying that. No access to money. Found out there's no money. Money, or lack thereof. I think the money tree dried up. You guys, family doesn't want to pay is my guess. Yeah, you guys, and I think Ohio Palm Mom's right around the same line of thinking. Fisher Blue, I say money too. It's always about the money in that world. Yeah. Nick has no money, and Nick may have been uncooperative, says Scotch Mom. Hey, Dom's mom, been a member for 15 months. Glad you're here from Seattle. Yeah, bringing on my niece, I think, is a great idea. I think that, let's be honest, that was Kimberly's idea. I'm going to reach out to her and see if she's game. Who knows if she'll be able. What we're talking about is a short that I did earlier today about the Tepe case, where we all were a little bit. I wanted to extend a little more grace, I will say. But in the comments, a lot of people are angry with the dispatchers who are taking those 911 calls. As I have a niece who is a 911 dispatcher, I would love to get her take on that. I'm going to try. Let's see. This is funny. Look how much work I've done. How dare you decide to no longer pay me? That's funny. Okay. Let's see. Mooney says, I don't see Alan Jackson doing a pro bono case ever. Michele has a different take on it. I think it was a conflict of interest. You don't go into chambers for money. You do go into chambers for conflicts, especially in a high-profile case with a high-profile attorney. I mean, is it possible that some of the witnesses maybe in this case are his former clients? I mean, am I being too cynical? Is it possible that on the list of possible witnesses from, for example, the Conan O'Brien party, does he have former clients who would be witnesses in the case? I don't know. D says, if it is no money, why didn't Alan Jackson know that before starting the process? Yeah, I don't know. Brenda says, Garagos was on another channel being vague about the public finding out about a turn of events we'll learn about in the next few weeks. Okay. Garagos does have his finger on the pulse. Yeah, sorry, Sharky. I'm sorry. That yawning is killing me. AJ signed a paper and gives that to the court. He would have to have a good reason to drop out. Yeah, but I think the courts, I mean, I'm quibbling. I'm quibbling respectfully and lovingly. I think not getting paid is a good enough reason for the court. I do. Was Alan Jackson the family lawyer? That is why he was attorney so quickly. It doesn't sound like it. It sounds like family lawyers reached out to Alan Jackson because Alan Jackson is a criminal defense lawyer. And I'm sure that the Reiners had all sorts of lawyers that they used over the years. Entertainment lawyers, estate planning lawyers, business lawyers, all sorts of things. Who knows? But I doubt they had criminal defense lawyers. I haven't seen anything indicating that. Montana says Jackson is also a lawyer in another trial already. I mean, that might be it, but I think that these offices are equipped to handle hundreds of cases at a time. He has a public defender. He has to qualify for that, so no money. Well, that is true. There has to be indigence, right? There has to be indigence, I think, in order to get a public defender. So Fisher Blue, ding, 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 ding. I think you won. Yeah. All right, see if there's anything. Okay, so let's move on, shall we, over to this 6.5 minute clip. This is from Reuters. They said they were covering it live, but I do see some cuts in this. I did not cut it. I am, anytime I cut something, I usually put a white flash, like a white dip, so that we all know where I cut things. But this is 6 minutes, 29 seconds long. I have bumped up the audio a bit, so if you're wearing earbuds or headphones, maybe pull them off until you know what volume it's going to be. I don't want to hurt anybody's eardrums, but I did bump it up because it was kind of low in some cases. Here we go.
Versus Nick Reiner, case number 25 CJC F08098.
Good morning, Your Honor. Alan Jackson, on behalf of Mr. Reiner, who is present in court out of custody. I'm sorry, in custody.
Thank you.
Good morning, Your Honor. Habib Balian for the people.
Your Honor, we have a matter of housekeeping.
So that was one of those cuts I didn't do, but here we go.
That I'd like to address in chambers in dealing with the 10 subpoenas that are outstanding. There are 10 current subpoenas that are outstanding. We would ask that body attachments be issued and held for each of the 10, specifically with subpoena number 4 on the list and subpoena number 10 on the list. Counsel for both of those individuals and those parties have appeared in court. They're here with us today. We have no principled objection to an extension of time for them to comply with the subpoena, but to maintain jurisdiction, we would ask that body attachments be issued.
I don't have the list. I'd like to get a copy, and I haven't seen the proof of service, but I assume the court.
Counsel for 4 and 10 present.
Yes,
Thank you,
Your Honor.
Allison.
I'm not sure which number I am.
Number 10.
I'm counsel for number 10, and we do object to issue if that would resolve the court's concerns about retaining jurisdiction. However, we see no reason, given our appearance and the fact that we are here to issue an hold of body attachment.
And counsel for number 4.
In counsel number 10's statement, I don't see the necessity for issuing a body attachment. I too will stipulate the jurisdiction without necessarily waiving any objections we ultimately may make. But given my newness to the matter, I don't see the necessity of having a court order issued against an individual in this circumstance.
So fair enough as to
Thank you, Your Honor, and just to be clear, we do also reserve all of our objections.
yes, and so, but as to the remaining numbers, that's 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Those the court will issue body attachment and hold it until the next court date.
And
9.
thank you. We have no objection to counsel's representations, given the fact that both have graciously submitted to jurisdiction with regard to 4 and 10. We think that's appropriate.
Thank you. Once again, the court will issue and hold 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9
Thank you.
until the next hearing date. And we'll
Does the court have a list?
It does. The court will seal that list as well.
We've
Do
asked,
people have a copy or not?
we've asked that the court seal it specifically because it is ongoing defense investigation data or evidence that we recover or we get, our counsel on behalf of Mr. Reiner gets, and that is discoverable. We'll comply with all, or counsel will comply with all discovery obligations at that time.
Okay,
So this list of 10 subpoenas, 10 people that have been subpoenaed, they don't want to even share it with the prosecution right now. They said when it's appropriate in discovery, we will share it. But right now it's ongoing defense. And he kind of slipped up. He's like, counsel will, like we will. No, I mean, counsel will, right?
That's the counsel's request to provide a copy to the people.
That's the point. We think that should not be done because that would implicate ongoing investigative efforts by the defense, and it would compromise Mr. Reiner's right to a fair trial and his right to maintain his investigation with some level of confidence or confidentiality, I should say.
But at this time, the court would just seal it until the next court hearing date.
Thank you.
And how else would you like to proceed?
Your Honor, at this time, I, on behalf of Workman Jackson and Quinn, and with Mr. Reiner's understanding and consent, would ask to withdraw his counsel of record based on the conversation that we've had in chambers and the explanation that we've provided to the court in chambers. We feel that we have no choice at this juncture but to withdraw his counsel and ask to be relieved. The Public Defender's Office has been notified. We've had conversations with them. They are here. They're staffed. They're ready to take over. My understanding is they're ready for the appointment immediately, forthwith.
Good morning, Your Honor. Kimberly Green from the Public Defender's Office. That is correct.
So the court will case, and so that firm is relieved as counsel of record, and the court appoints the Public Defender's Office to represent Mr. Reiner.
Thank you.
I honestly think this is a money thing, man.
Any items they received?
We will absolutely comply with that. We've already begun. The mediation has been met.
Your Honor, there's a protective order issued by the court in place regarding the handling of discovery. Order that's remaining in place for now, and we will serve a copy of that on the Public Defender's Office along with the discovery we provide.
Yes, the court will order that order.
Preclude me from giving. Mr. Balian raises a very sage point. I'm under a protective order not to provide our discovery to anybody else. That would text providing the information only to Ms. Green in her office. Then I can be in full compliance with the protective order.
Anything to the people, any response to that request?
No problem. I believe the protective order spells out that it covers Mr. Jackson's firm as well as any successor counsel.
Thank you.
So you can provide everything to Ms. Green.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any further? Back on the record in People versus Nick Reiner, case number 25 CJC F08098.
Good morning. Kimberly Green here at ENE from the Public Defender's Office on behalf of Mr. Reiner, who again is present.
Thank you.
Good morning, Your Honor. Habib Balian, representing the people of the state of California.
Thank you.
Your Honor, with the court's permission, we'd ask to put over the arraignment one last time to February 23rd, if that date is appropriate.
That date is fine. Court.
Thank you, and I will work with Ms. Green to get her discovery prior to that date.
I'll take a waiver for your. entitled, you have a constitutional and statutory right to a
She's
speedy
talking to
arraignment.
Nick
Your
here.
counsel, Ms. Green from the Public Defender's Office, is requesting that your arraignment be continued to February the 23rd, 2026. In this department, do you waive your right to be arraigned today so that your matter may be continued to February 23rd, 2026 for arraignment?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Thank you. And is counsel joining that waiver?
I do.
The court finds that the defendant has made a knowing and intelligent waiver of his right.
So that when he was like, yeah, I couldn't really quite make out what he said, but that was Nick Reiner's voice.
To a speedy arraignment, and that his counsel of record joins in that waiver. Matters set for arraignment in this department, February 23rd, 2026. Bail remains at no bail. Anything further?
No bail.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so that is what happened today. What do we get out of it? What do we get? Well, we got that there are 10 people that they've subpoenaed, and they want to keep that list secret even from the prosecution, who eventually will have a right to have that list. But Mr. Jackson's argument was, we want to protect the integrity and the confidentiality of the defense's their work, I guess, their investigation, right? And then he's like, oh, and by the way, I want to withdraw, and over there, Ms. Green, she's all about it. She's going to do great. And then that was it. He waived his right to a speedy arraignment, and that was it. Now, all those cuts, again, that was all Reuters doing that. I really wish that we could have had the whole thing. I don't think it was much longer than that, though. They did go into judges' chambers for quite a while. Let's see. Oh, Mooney, you're amazing. Mooney's amazing, everybody. She sent 5 gift memberships. She is so awesome. Thank you for doing that. Yeah, he's claiming indigent. The state is paying for his defense plus prosecuting him. That's the way indigency goes. Yeah, I know that. I need to do deep breathing exercises. Cooler by the lake. Nick probably qualifies as indigent. He was living off his parents, had no independent source of income, doesn't appear to have any property, and also has a history of homelessness. Yeah, that is a astute comment, Cooler by the Lake. Thank you very much. He likely is. He likely is. Okay, now the next clip that I want to show y'all is the press conference. Let me bring it up right chaw. This clip is about 5 minutes long. I've got the remarks from Mr. Jackson. I've also got remarks from Ms. Green, and her boss. So it's not very long. Again, I bumped up the audio, so if you got the headphones on, maybe just do a check-a-rooney. I'm going to hit play right now.
Good morning. As you know, my name is Alan Jackson. This morning, I had to withdraw as Nick Reiner's counsel.
Because I couldn't get paid.
Circumstances beyond our control, but more importantly, circumstances beyond Nick's control.
Because you couldn't pay me?
Have dictated that, sadly, it's made it impossible for us to continue our representation of Nick.
Because he can't pay me.
I'm legally and I'm ethically prohibited from explaining all the reasons why.
But
I know that's a question on everybody's mind.
He could pay me. That's what I think.
We expect the public defender to step in. They've already been appointed and very capably protect Nick Reiner's interests as he moves forward through the system. But be clear. Be very, very clear about this. My team and I...
You know, anytime I hear a public persona, an orator, use the word clear, period. Let me be clear. Let's be clear. I tend to not believe the next thing they say. Well, and usually it's a politician saying that, and so I don't believe them anyway, Gavin, I apologize and repent for talking about politics. This is a political free zone. But let's be clear. It's a red flag for me. Let's be clear. Oh, okay. So he's putting a punctuation mark on this because he doesn't really believe it. That's the way I feel anytime somebody says that.
Remain deeply, deeply committed to Nick Reiner and to his best interests. In fact, we know, we're not just convinced, we know that the legal process will reveal the true facts of the circumstances surrounding this case, Nick's case. You know, a lot's been printed of late, over the last 3 weeks. A lot has been printed. Printed about Nick, printed about his family, printed about the circumstances. Speculation is in print. On December 15th, in the early morning hours, I was in New York at the time, and I got a call. Me and my team, we dropped everything. And for the last 3 weeks, we have devoted literally every waking hour to protecting Nick and his interests. We've investigated this matter top to bottom, back to front.
Let me pause this for a moment. Anytime you want to get a hold of me, the best thing to do is to head on over to my website, gavinfish.com. There is a little icon. It's a little like envelope. You click on that, and there's a little form you can fill out. You can reach out to me that way. Thank you very much for your super chat. That goes for you, and it goes for anybody. This is the best way to reach out to me. Okay, let me go back to where am I going? To here. And we will keep going. Thank you so much.
What we've learned, and you can take this to the bank, is that pursuant to the laws of this state, pursuant to the law in California, Nick Reiner is not guilty of murder. Print that.
Oh, I
Print
will.
that. We wish him the very, very best moving forward. And that's all I have today.
That's so funny. If I can just go on a little bit of a tangent here, I'm just gonna get just a tiny little tangent. Anytime I hear somebody who's upset at what the press have reported, and they kind of lash out like Mr. Jackson just did, we know that he is not guilty. Print that. He's not guilty. Print that. Well, we can't print that because we don't know it. We don't have all the facts and all the circumstances, and it would be irresponsible for us as reporters to print it at all because we're not supposed to have an opinion. What we will, and when you look at the reporting on this, I think it's been extremely fair. Nick Reiner has been accused of murdering his parents. That is the reporting. The alleged murder. I think the reporting has been really, really fair. And for Mr. Jackson to lash out like he just did, I think was really crappy. And also, I feel like the average person is just really bad at reading the news. Like if you're reading a news article that takes a position on something, that is a bad news article. If it's a news article that takes a position, it is not a news article. It is an opinion article. And so, just if I could beg you, please, 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 as the lowly, humble, local Western Pennsylvania reporter that I am, look at the way I write things and look at the way other reporters write things, and you will see that a good reporter is not taking a position at all. They're just saying, there are facts. The Reiners were killed. There are facts that they died from sharp force injuries. There are those kinds of facts, and then the rest is attributed facts. According to police, Nick Reiner murdered his parents. According to prosecutors, Nick Reiner murdered his parents. Nick Reiner is alleged to have murdered his parents. Those are attributed. Okay. And for people to lash out at reporters for saying that he's been accused of murder, that's unfair. He has been accused of murder. Anyway, okay, that's my little soapbox. My little soapbox. All right, here is the. Oh, let's continue here with the public defender's office.
Ricardo Garcia, Los Angeles County Public Defender. I'm here with Kimberly Green, the deputy.
Dang it, I like Mr. Garcia's style. No tie. I'm Ricardo Garcia, Los Angeles County Public Defender. I will not wrap a ribbon around my neck like some teen French king who thought that his mercenaries looked great in their red sashes. I will not do that 400 years after. I will wear a shirt designed for a tie without a tie, and I will not apologize. I love this guy.
Public defender assigned to the Reiner case. I want to say that on behalf of the entire public defender's office, we are incredibly sorry and understand the pain and suffering that the Reiner family is going through at this time, as well as the entire Los Angeles community. The public defender's office and the entire staff, our hearts at this time go out to the entire family. We hope that the community will also understand that this is a challenging time for the entire legal process. We ask for your patience, your understanding as we navigate this process through the legal system, and that we will be available as we can be to address your questions when appropriate. Thank you. We learned, I believe, last night or yesterday that we were being substituted in. I'm going to let Ms. Green answer that.
I spoke to him briefly this morning, but we haven't had a chance to discuss any. I spoke to Mr. Reiner briefly this morning. He was understanding that there was going to be a change in counsel. We haven't had any in-depth conversations.
Listen, Miss Kimberly Green here, she's pretty impressive too. She's just, yeah, I'll take this. I haven't talked to him yet, but I'm going to take it. It's been assigned to me. I'm a public defender. It's what I do. I think she's probably going to be pretty great.
Reiner family? I have not.
His former attorney says he's not guilty. He's not guilty.
We'll discuss that with Mr. Reiner and see how to proceed.
That question was, the previous counsel says he's not guilty. Is he not guilty? She's like, we'll discuss it with Mr. Reiner and figure out how to proceed. She's awesome.
Not at all. It's not uncommon for private counsel.
Look at the lady behind Mr. Garcia. She is the media person. Watch how quickly she's going to jump in here. This is great.
To turn over cases to us, so no, nothing about that would complicate the situation. I have talked to him for only 30 seconds, so I have no idea.
She said she's only talked to Mr. Reiner for about 30 seconds. That's all she's had.
I only spoke to Mr. Reiner for about 30 seconds this morning. I have no comment about his mental state. I have not. We've had no contact with the family. I don't think they were aware that this was going on until this morning.
At this point in time, Ms. Green will look into the case. We'll speak with Mr. Reiner. And if you have any further questions, reach out to our media team once we have more information ourselves. This just happened today, and my understanding is he was aware of it. Ms. Green spoke with him, as you heard. And as soon as we have more information that we can share, we will share it.
Thank you. No further questions at this time.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
You
no
can
further
direct any
questions.
further questions to our media. Green with an E at the end.
Green with an E at the end. Yeah, I'm impressed with her. I think I wouldn't want to go toe to toe with Ms. Green. So that's the news, guys. We've got the public defender's office taking the case. We've got Mr. Jackson bowing out. I think it's money. That's the way it is for me. Don't think that there's anything more complicated than that. And I think, let's see, if there's any other, a couple comments. Is it because the drug he was given wasn't approved by him, but a conservator? I don't know about that. I do not know. He's referring to presumption of innocence. Yeah, and that's fine. But except he didn't say the presumption of innocence. He didn't say that. He didn't get up and say, my client is presumed innocent until proven guilty in a court of law, which is lawyerly speak for my client's guilty, but I'm going to defend him or her as much as I can. No, he's like, this we know he's not guilty. Print that. Like, I can't. I can print that you said it, but I can't print that he's not guilty. I can only attribute it. Mr. Jackson says that he is not guilty. And of course, it's very lawyerly, right? So there's some frog hair to be split there. He's not guilty of what? Murder because what? Because of legal insanity, all that stuff. Okay, guys, we're going to do a little switcheroo tonight, okay? Little switcheroo in our programming. Instead of going right into headlines, which I have a few that are important, we're going to do 3 questions first. Here we go.
It's 3 questions with Gavin Fish.
Pow! Yes, okay, so in the 3 questions segment, if you're new here, I answer 3 questions that are submitted to me by you, my lovely viewers. And I promise that when I get a question, I will answer it to the best of my ability, and I will not hem and haw. I will not beat around the bush. And you can send these in to 3questions@gavinfish.com, 3questions@gavinfish.com. It's spelled out THREE questions@gavinfish.com, and I will endeavor to answer them all. And listen, you can send in 1 question, you can send in 1,000 questions. You can send them in as often as you want. And I actually get fewer emails than you think. So if you have a question, send it in. I will get to it pretty darn quickly. All right, first question. Push the right button, Gavin. What is something small or ordinary that unexpectedly brings you a lot of happiness? A lot of happiness or giggles? I would say scatological humor. It's funny to me. I'm a child, but I do enjoy bathroom humor. It's dumb. It's stupid. I shouldn't. I should be ashamed of myself. But yeah, bathroom humor to me is the highest form of humor. I should say why I'm doing this first instead of headlines. Here's the thing. I'm telling you what I think. You tell me what you think. Put a GF in your comment. Answer this question for me in the comments because I would love to hear what you guys say. I'm a potty humor guy. What about you guys? What is something small and ordinary that unexpectedly brings you a lot of happiness? You know, and I like the potty humor that comes from people that you just wouldn't expect it to come from. I like that. It gives me deep, deep pleasure. And I have this laugh where, like, if it really gets me, it comes from my chest. It is I can't impersonate it. It just happens. And oh boy, if it comes from somebody you're just not expecting to say something like that, then it's the best. I just love it. Question number 2. If you could know the answer to one mystery about existence, consciousness, or reality, what would you ask? I would love to hear your thoughts on this. Put it in the live chat. Put GF in the comments so I can read it. There are just some mysteries that make life better being a mystery. So here's one. I saw somebody ask this of Neil deGrasse Tyson, and I thought, I'd never thought about that before, but I would love to know the answer to it. Okay, here's the question, or here's the answer. Scientists believe, and they say they have evidence that shows that the universe is expanding, that the distance, the size of the universe is growing. And the question is, what is it expanding into? And Neil deGrasse Tyson was like, you know what? Don't be embarrassed for your question because nobody knows the answer to that. So if the universe is expanding, what is it expanding into? That one is one that I would like to know. I would really love to know that. The other the ones with the questions with like religious overtones or, things about our existence, I think they're better as mysteries. Yeah. What do you think? Let me know. Third and final question. What is the most funny or awkward situation you found yourself in? I know exactly how to answer this question. I just don't know if I should. Okay, I'm going to. Let me tell you why I'm struggling here, okay? This involves another person. And he and I had an experience together that when we were finished with the experience, we looked at each other and said, nobody will ever know about this, ever. And we agreed that was the case. When we got back, we were coworkers. When we got back to the office, he was he got to the office before me, and when I walked in, he was already telling the story to everybody. So I don't think it's off limits, even though we promised each other. Okay, so I used to travel quite a bit for work. I was gone all the time, and one of the places that I would go to frequently was Paris because I had distributors and business partners there. So I was in Paris with my coworker. We're going to call him Steve. And Steve and I, we arrived kind of early afternoon, and I was severely jet lagged and really just wanted to take a nap. But our friend, in whose apartment I would stay, anytime I would go to Paris, he would give me an apartment to stay in. So we're staying in his home, and he's like, Gavin, you don't want to go to bed yet. We have dinner tonight, and in France, man, dinner is so freaking late. And so I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to stay up for it. And he goes, tell you what, I'm going to take you to my massage therapist, get you a massage. You and Steve should have a massage anyway. You guys have been traveling a long time. And I think that I don't think I'd come from America. I think I'd come from like Hong Kong or something like that. I was beat, man. I'd been on the road a long time. So he's like, I'm going to drop you off at my massage therapist. You and Steve can get massages. I'll be back in a couple hours, and then it'll be time for dinner or whatever. I mean, you know what? That sounds delightful. Thank you. So he drops us off. He drops us off at this Parisian business. And in Paris, everything is so tightly packed together, right? So it's just like we go into this tiny little entryway, this little room. And it is a Thai massage, which figures into this story. And I'm looking around like there are no rooms. There's just like the lobby was smaller than my office. It was tiny, but there was a little staircase that went down into the basement. So we follow the lady down into the basement. She checks us in. We go down these like little circular stairs. Just to give you a heads up on this, Steve is a portly fellow, big portly guy. Okay. And, we go down and in the basement, it's an expansive room that has these little huts, like we had walked into Thailand. And each little hut, you'd open the door. It was like a rice paper door, slidey door, and you go in. And so she opens the door and we go in. I thought it was just like one of us, but she motions for both of us to go in. We go in. There is a massage bed. It's low to the ground, and it doesn't have the like little hole. It's just like a little twin bed on one side. And then there's a little twin bed on the other side. And in the back, there's like a little bathroom. And I notice on the beds that there are little black thong underwear made of paper on each bed. And she tells us to get changed. So Steve and I are looking at each other and we're computing. Do we want to we know what's about to happen. But do we want to do this? We are coworkers, and we had a moment where we were just like, at the same time, we both went, yeah, I'm in. So Steve-O goes in to the bathroom where he changes out of his clothes, and he comes out and he's in this paper black thong. His belly is so big that I can just see barely a little tip of black underneath it. Him big tattoos all over him. And he's like, you got to take a picture of me. So I took a picture of him. Oh, it was hilarious. He laid down. I went in and changed and came out and laid on the bed. Okay. And about the time that I laid down, the doors open and two young Asian women come in and proceed to climb on us. Now, we had to lay with our heads on our pillows like this because it didn't have the whole thing, right? So I decided I'm going to just not look in the direction of Steve. and I'm going to get my massage. It was one of those where she climbed up on me. She had like a handle above her and she was walking. It was guys, it was amazing. It was amazing. But about halfway through, my neck was getting a little cramped, and I decided I'm going to go this way, and I opened my eyes, and it was at the exact moment that Steve had done the same thing. He turned his head toward me, opened his eyes, and our eyes locked. And we both were just like horrified. So we both synchronized, put our heads back the other way, and got our massage. We got up. When it was done, it was a great massage. But when we got up, we both were like, listen, we can't tell anybody that we went to Paris and got a couples massage together. And we promised, we pinky sweared, we shook hands, and we told people that we would never, ever, ever, we told ourselves we would never, ever, ever tell people this would be our secret to the day we die. We finish our business trip. I can't remember where we went next, but a couple days later, we're back in California, and I go into work, and I walk into the lobby, and Steve has like the entire staff around him where he's telling everybody about the couples massage that we had together in Paris. It was hilarious. That is the most funny, the most awkward situation I have ever been in. And those, my friends, are 3 questions.
It's 3 questions with Gavin Fish.
Pow! Remember to send in your questions, 3 questions to 3questions at gavinfish.com. Also, please tell me the answer to the 3 questions in your life. I would love to read those, and I will as soon as we get through headlines.
True crime headlines.
Pow! All right, guys, here we go. Ashley Buzzard case. You guys remember this one? She had her court appearance today. This is from The Independent. Ashley Buzzard appears in Lompoc court after pleading not guilty to daughter Melody's murder. Ashley Buzzard appeared in Santa Barbara County Superior Court, and I think it's pronounced Lompoc actually, on January 7th to set the date for her preliminary hearing. Buzzard is charged with the murder of her daughter, 9-year-old Melody Buzzard. I think I have, let me bring up a picture of Melody, who went missing on October 7th. Following a months-long search, Melody's body was recovered in Wayne County, Utah on December 6th with bullet wounds to the head. Buzzard's murder charge includes 2 enhancement charges: use of a firearm during a felony and murder while lying in wait. So she has, let's see, Santa Barbara District Attorney announced he has elected to seek a sentence of life imprisonment without parole rather than the death penalty. She has pleaded not guilty to the charges. She's being held without bail in county jail. Her preliminary hearing is scheduled tentatively for January 21st in Lompoc. Next headline: no arrests made 2 months after Anna Kepner's body was found on a cruise ship. This from Florida Today. 2 months after Florida teen's body, Anna Kepner was the high schooler from Titusville, Florida, who was murdered on a Carnival cruise line, if you guys remember. So 2 months after Florida teen's body was found aboard a cruise ship during a family vacation. I think I have, Let's bring up Anna Kepner here. No arrests have been made and relatively no information has been released. Several news outlets, including ABC News and People.com, reported the medical examiner determined Anna Kepner died as a result of mechanical asphyxiation. However, the medical examiner's office told USA Today Network on January 6th that its office has not released any information and referred questions to the FBI. The case has garnered international attention with outlets from all over the world covering the story as people wonder and speculate how the teen died. So yeah, we're 2 months on. We have no clue. No clue. And the last one, this was brought up in the comments a little bit earlier. This from LA Magazine. The headline says, Garagos, DA may be quietly turning to outside experts to rebuild forensic case in Celeste Rivas Hernandez death. Prominent criminal defense attorney Mark Garagos said he believes Los Angeles County prosecutors have turned to outside forensic experts as they work to determine the cause of death for 22-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez, a move he speculates was prompted by growing friction between the district attorney's office, the LAPD, and the county medical examiner in the high-profile inquiry involving singer David Anthony Burke, known as David. During a discussion on the Los Angeles Magazine podcast, Garagos said he suspects the DA's office has brought in 2 or 3 at least outside experts to reevaluate medical and evidentiary findings related to Hernandez's death. Garagos reiterated that the friction between agencies became publicly visible after prosecutors obtained court-ordered security holds blocking the medical examiner's office from releasing details about Hernandez's autopsy and manner of death. That tells me they need, quote, that tells me they need more than the medical examiner has given them, close quote. Oh, continuing the quote, the medical examiner's office has publicly stated they're not buying what the DA is selling. I suspect they've got outside experts taking all the ME stuff, taking all the evidence, and doing a thorough job of reevaluating to present to a grand jury. Of course, outlets like TMZ, which Garagos is a frequent contributor to, have reported on the grand jury proceedings in this case, but we haven't seen much. We haven't seen much in quite a while. And those guys, oh, you know what I didn't do? I didn't bring up Celeste's photo. It's really sad because there just aren't that many photos of her. It's too bad. Anyway, those are ye old headlines.
True crime headlines.
Alrighty, let's see what you guys are saying. Let's see. Let's see. Metal music, according to Schmoopy. Metal music brings me happiness, says Schmoopy. I've never been a metal guy. Over time, metal becomes less metal. Like, when I was a kid, Metallica was pretty heavy metal for me. Now I like Metallica, but I'm not really... Anything beyond Metallica, I'm really not into, but I'm glad that it brings you happiness. Down Under with Love says, potty humor with shock value from someone unexpected. Yes, yes, yes. Math Geek says, a crisp and sunny spring morning. I'm delighted that brings you happiness. For me, I don't see the sunrise all that often. I'm just a late riser. Scotch Mom says mint chocolate chip ice cream. You're talking my language there. That's the good stuff there. Mooney says, while teaching, I had a student write, Mrs. Moonroach is a betch. I walked by and started laughing. I told her, if you're going to call me that, you better learn how to spell it. I erased the E. That is funny. And then she says, and replaced it with an I. I was cracking up. She was mortified. That's funny. Shawnabo says bird watching. Birds are so funny and interesting to watch. They each have their own calls, songs, looks, and personalities. Some birds, like crows, are so intelligent, and it's fun to watch them. That's great. That is great. Let's see. A. Heineman says, Gavin, your secret is safe with us. Hope you didn't get a paper cut. I did not. I did not get a paper cut. Oh my God, that's funny. That is funny. Irma Linda Porter says, I live in Melbourne, Australia, and I'm driving to work. I'm a support worker. I'm in stitches listening to your story about the couple's massage. Thanks for the laughs. Oh, that was the funniest moment of my life, I think. So funny. Wonderkill says, so I decided to disembark the carousel, and there was a moment of full arms wheeling, stumbling forward, trying not to fall when somebody caught me. That someone was none other than TBC. Who's TBC? Who's TBC? Oh, I don't get the reference. Hold on. Who is TBC? Let me see if, I don't know. Tennessee Bible I don't know who TBC is. Anyway, I'm glad that you were caught. Glad that you were caught. Oh, the head of Buena Vista Films UK. Got it. All right. Wow, somebody famous. Awesome. Mouse says, Gavin, my most embarrassing event is probably a bit long for a live comment. I'll try putting it in later if I don't chicken out. Don't chicken out. Teaser, it involves underestimating a police department's sense of humor. That's funny. And Kathy Lou says, Gavin, listening to kids giggle in another room. Yes. Guys, thank you so much for spending some time with me. Thank you for sharing your answers to 3 questions. Remember to send in your questions. 3 questions at gavinfish.com, 3 questions at gavinfish.com. It's spelled out THREE, questions at gavinfish.com. With that, we're a couple minutes over. Sorry about that. Gotta go. We'll be back tomorrow, 6:00 p.m. Eastern time. And I hope to see you there. Oh, real quick. Remember, I did plug my website a little bit earlier, but also when you're on the website, guys, click on this little fishy up in the corner. That will take you to the fish tank where we hang out on Facebook. If that is your thing, you are welcome to come over here. I did post a photo earlier today it was a throwback to 10 years ago today when I was at International CES, having just been awarded an Innovations Award, which was kind of the top of the awards that one could get. And it wasn't just me, obviously. I accepted on behalf of the company I worked for, the same one that Steve-O and I worked for, by the way. And yeah, look at that young face, 10 years ago, short, nice cut hair. But boy, am I glad that I'm not at CES this week. I have grown up and grown out of that. But anyway, if you are on Facebook and you like to hang out with like-minded people, you like to get into the nitty-gritty of true crime, that is where to do it. With that, I bid you adieu until tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern. Until then, please take care of yourselves. Bye-bye. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you liked what you saw, please consider subscribing. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below.